Netflix just quietly added some films that have absolutely no business being this good. And I know that sounds like every clickbait thumbnail ever made, but I mean it literally. A courtroom drama that makes you prove the Holocaust happened. A tailor in 1950 Chicago who is the most dangerous person in every room he walks into, and nobody knows it. A detective who moonlights as a hired killer and takes a teenage girl as collateral. These are films the algorithm is doing nothing to surface. Films in completely different genres. Comedies, westerns, war, horror, true stories that share one thing. They are near perfect at what they set out to do. And number one on this list? A road trip through 1960s America that won the Academy Award for Best Picture is still one of the warmest films ever made about two people who had no reason to become friends. 17 films ranked. Let's go! Number 17, Host.
What was that? Amy, was that you?
I heard it.
I heard something.
I think there's something here. Do you see that?
57 minutes long, shot entirely on Zoom, made during lockdown, by 6 people who had never made a feature together. That's the whole production story. And what came out of it is one of the most genuinely frightening horror films of recent times. Host is a found footage film about a group of friends who hold a seance over video call during the pandemic. Bored, restless, doing it as a laugh, and invite something in. Rob Savage directed this from his bedroom. Each actor handled their own practical effects at home. The jump scares are earned, not cheap. And the film understands something most studio horror films forget. The scariest thing is not what you see. It's the thing you can't see. It opened with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and still holds 98%. 57 minutes. Put it on at midnight. Lights off. On your laptop, not your TV. The screen matters. That's not a recommendation. That's instructions. Number 16, Slow West.
Once upon a time, a 16-year-old kid traveled from the cold shoulder of Scotland to the baking heart of America to find his love. His name was Jay.
This is a Western, but not a Western in the way you're picturing. No sweeping desert vistas, no drawling monologues about honor, no 30-minute standoff in the town square. Slow West is 84 minutes long. Precise, cold, strange, and it is one of the most formally beautiful Western films in years. Cody Smith-McPhee plays Jay, a naive Scottish teenager crossing the American frontier to find the girl he loves. Michael Fassbender plays Silas, a bounty hunter who agrees to escort him, for reasons that aren't immediately clear. John McLean wrote and directed this, his debut feature, and it won the World Cinema Grand Jury Prize at Sundance 2015. It looks like a Wes Anderson film. It thinks like a Coen Brothers film. And in its final 15 minutes, it becomes something else entirely. 84 minutes. Not a single frame wasted. One of the most beautiful and quietly devastating Westerns of its era. Number 15, Land of Bad.
I got movement.
We got a situation. RPG's 12 o'clock. Incoming!
Weapons away.
Most people miss this one, which is baffling given what it does. Liam Hemsworth plays a rookie special ops soldier whose team gets ambushed deep in hostile territory in the Philippines. Russell Crowe plays the drone operator watching the whole thing from a trailer in Nevada, thousands of miles away, trying to keep the last survivors alive using nothing but cameras in the sky. 2 men, 2 completely different kinds of helplessness. What Land of Bad does better than almost any recent action thriller is take the modern reality of drone warfare, the terrifying distance between the operator and the consequence, and make it feel intimate. Crowe is watching someone die in real time, and the only thing he can do is keep talking. It's tense from the first act to the last. Hemsworth is genuinely good in a way his bigger films haven't always let him be, and Crowe hasn't been this engaged in years. Underseen, properly good. Watch it tonight. Number 14, The Rover.
What feeling do you have when you wake up in the morning?
When your feet touch the floor.
10 years after the collapse, that's where this film begins. No explanation, no world-building montage, just Australia. Hot. Broken. Still functioning, barely, on the logic of whoever has the gun. Guy Pearce plays Eric, a man whose car gets stolen. That's it. That's his motivation for the entire film. He wants his car back, and he will do absolutely anything to get it. What director David Michôd, the man who made Animal Kingdom, understands is that in a world without law, the most frightening thing is a person with nothing left to lose, except one small specific thing. Eric isn't a hero. He's not even particularly sympathetic. He's just resolute. Completely, terrifyingly resolute. Robert Pattinson plays Ray, a young American left behind by the men who stole Eric's car. Slow and gentle and not quite right. And his performance here is the one that made people stop underestimating him. He is heartbreaking in this, genuinely. The ending will tell you what the whole film was actually about. You won't see it coming. Then you'll realize it was inevitable. Sparse, brutal, quietly extraordinary. Number 13. Killer Joe.
Mom's got a $50,000 life insurance policy. Killer Joe's a professional. He'll do this right.
It's murder we're talking about. I ain't agreed to nothing.
Fair warning on this one. William Friedkin, the man who made The Exorcist and The French Connection, made this at 77 years old. And it is one of the most aggressively, deliberately uncomfortable films he ever made. A man is in debt. Badly. He hatches a plan. Hire a hitman to kill his mother for the insurance money. The hitman is Joe Cooper, Dallas police detective, moonlights as a killer for hire. Matthew McConaughey plays Joe. This was McConaughey deep into what critics were calling his McConaissance, the stretch of films that turned him from a romantic comedy punchline into one of the most dangerous actors working. And Killer Joe might be the most dangerous thing he did in all of it. The film received an NC-17 rating. Friedkin refused to cut a single frame. It was later released unrated on DVDs and Blu-ray. There is a scene in the third act, I am absolutely not going to describe it, that has made people walk out of cinemas. You will not forget it. Gina Gershon, Thomas Hayden Church, Juno Temple, everyone is doing career best work. The performances are exceptional across the board. Not for everyone. For the right person, it is an absolute cinema. Number 12. Everest. This one is based on the true events of May 1996, the deadliest day in the history of Everest, when 2 expeditions were caught in a sudden storm near the summit, and 8 climbers died. Director Baltazar Kormákur shot this in the actual Himalayas. When the wind hits, it hits. When the cold comes through the screen, you reach for the blanket automatically. Jason Clarke, Josh Brolin, Jake Gyllenhaal. Real people who made real decisions on that mountain. Some reasonable, some catastrophic, and paid for them in ways the film doesn't soften. What Everest does that most disaster films don't, it refuses to assign blame cleanly. The mountain didn't care about the decisions these people made. The weather didn't care how experienced they were. There's no villain. There's no mistake that explains it all. Just a group of people at 29,000 feet when conditions became unsurvivable. That refusal to simplify it is what makes it linger. Number 11. Triangle of Sadness.
I command you, enjoy the moment.
No,
No?
no,
What? You say no to me?
no,
So it's yes.
yeah, no.
Ruben Östlund won the Palme d'Or at Cannes for this, his second Palme d'Or. The man now has 2. He made a film about class, beauty, money, and power. And then he put all of those things on a luxury yacht. And then he capsized it. The film runs in 3 acts. Act 1, the fashion industry, dissected with surgical cruelty. Act 2, the yacht, its obscenely rich passengers, and a dinner that, due to extremely rough seas and an extremely drunk Marxist captain, goes somewhere you cannot prepare for. Act 3, a deserted island and the sudden, hilarious, horrifying inversion of every social structure the film spent 90 minutes establishing. It is extremely funny. It is also extremely grim. It holds both of those things simultaneously and refuses to let either one win. The dinner sequence, the yacht scene, will make you wince, laugh, and feel actively unwell at the same time. Ostland planned it for months. It shows. 149 minutes. Not a second wasted. The most entertaining film about the end of civilization, you'll see this in years. Number 10. Don't Breathe.
What do you say you and I move away from Mom together? It's a promise.
You're leaving?
Yeah, as soon as I have the money.
When are you coming back?
Never.
A blind man lives alone in an abandoned Detroit neighborhood. He has money hidden somewhere in the house. 3 young thieves break in to take it. Here's what they didn't know. He's a veteran. He knows the layout of his house perfectly in the dark. And now that they've locked themselves inside, neither can they leave. Fede Alvarez directed this for $9.9 million and produced something that plays like a masterclass in spatial tension. Every room matters. Every locked door matters. And Stephen Lang as the blind man is one of the great, physically committed performances in any thriller in the genre. He doesn't say much. He doesn't need to. The film has a midpoint revelation, I will not say what, that shifts the entire moral ground of the film. Nobody is who you thought they were. Nobody is who you were rooting for. 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. $157 million on a $10 million budget. And still, not enough people have seen it. Number 9. Meet the Parents. After everything heavy on this list, here is the one that will make you laugh until it hurts. Ben Stiller plays Greg Fokker, a male nurse about to propose to his girlfriend, who has to spend a weekend with her family first. Her father is Jack Burns, ex-CIA, retired, has a lie detector in the basement, has opinions. Robert De Niro plays Jack Burns. De Niro, who had spent 30 years playing the most terrifying men in cinema, plays a man who is terrifying only to Ben Stiller, only because Ben Stiller cannot stop doing increasingly catastrophic things in his presence, and only because De Niro delivers every line with the complete, unhurried patience of a man who has already decided you're not good enough for his daughter. The comedy is the comedy of accumulation. Each disaster follows logically from the last. Greg tries to fix one thing and breaks 3 others. It is perfectly constructed. It is very, very funny. And De Niro is a comedic actor of the highest order when the material is worthy of him. One of the great comedies of its era. Put it on. Feel good. You deserve it after Killer Joe. Number 8. I Can Only Imagine.
What are you running from?
My dad.
Then write about it. Let that pain become your inspiration.
The best-selling Christian single of all time. Over 12 million copies. A song that has played at more funerals than almost any other piece of music in the last 20 years. This is the story of how it was written, by a kid from a small Texas town with an abusive father trying to find something to believe in. J. Michael Finley plays Bart Millard, the songwriter. Dennis Quaid plays his father Arthur, a man who is cruel in the specific way that men who were themselves destroyed can be cruel. Not cartoonish, not theatrical, just relentless. And then Arthur finds faith and changes. Here's the thing about this film. It is openly, unambiguously a faith film. It doesn't hide that. It doesn't wink at secular audiences or sand down the edges of its belief. It just tells the story. And it works. Not because the filmmaking is extraordinary, it isn't, but because the story is. Dennis Quaid's performance in the final act is genuinely affecting. The kind of thing you remember. $7 million budget. $83 million at the box office. You don't have to share the beliefs. You just have to believe in the people. That part's easy. Number 7. Mass.
What would you like to know?
Everything. I want to know everything.
Why?
Why do I want to know about your son? Because he killed mine.
I'm going to tell you exactly what happens in this film because knowing doesn't prepare you. 2 couples meet in a small room at the back of a church. They sit at a table. They talk. One couple's son was killed in a school shooting. The other couple's son was the one who did it. That is the entire film. Fran Kranz wrote and directed this in his feature debut. He spent years researching. Reading survivor accounts, speaking with parents on both sides of tragedies like this, trying to understand what a conversation this impossible would actually sound like. Ann Dowd, Jason Isaacs, Martha Plimpton, Reed Birney, all four giving the performances of their careers. In a room, at a table, for 91 minutes. There is a moment about an hour in, one character says something that I was not ready for. I won't tell you what it is. I'll tell you I had to pause the film. More than less people have seen this. That number should be significantly higher. One of the most important American films of this decade. Not easy, worth every second of the discomfort. Number 6, Denial.
And I've got $1,000 to give anyone who can show me a document that proves the Holocaust.
I will not debate you, not here, not now, not
Because
ever.
you can't.
Deborah Lipstadt is a historian. In 1993, she published a book calling David Irving a Holocaust denier. David Irving sued her for libel. In a British court, where the burden of proof is reversed, where the defendant has to prove the truth of what they said. In other words, Deborah Lipstadt had to prove the Holocaust happened. That is the premise. And it is not fiction. Rachel Weisz plays Lipstadt, an American academic suddenly inside the British legal system, fighting not just a case, but the principle that historical truth is not a matter of debate. Timothy Spall plays Irving, with a specificity that is genuinely unnerving. Not a monster, but a man absolutely convinced of his own scholarship. That conviction is the most disturbing thing about him. Tom Wilkinson plays barrister Richard Rampton, and his cross-examination of Irving, methodical, devastating, delivered without a single raised voice, is one of the finest courtroom sequences of all time. The film asks a question that has not gotten less relevant. What do you do when someone demands that truth argue with lies on equal terms? What do you do when the format itself grants credibility to something that deserves none? We are still asking it. Every day. Watch this film. Number 5, The Outfit.
Please, sirs, I don't want any trouble.
This is the film I'd put on 5th. Not because it's weaker than what's above it, but because what's above it does something I've never seen another film do. Mark Rylance plays Leonard Burling, a Savile Row-trained cutter running a small tailor shop in 1950s Chicago. His clients include the local Irish mob. On one particular night, all of them come through the door. There's a tape, there's a rat, there's money, and Leonard, quiet, measured, utterly unflappable, finds himself trapped in the middle of a situation that keeps getting more dangerous by the minute. The film was shot almost entirely in one location, the tailor shop, over a few weeks. Graham Moore wrote and directed it, the man who wrote The Imitation Game, and it is a masterclass in what you can do with a locked room, a great cast, and a script that never shows its seams. Rylance is the reason to watch this. He builds a character through raised eyebrows, a slight tightening of the jaw, a single carefully chosen word where anyone else would have said 3. 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, one of the most underrated films of the last 5 years. Don't miss it! Number 4, Starship Troopers. Paul Verhoeven made this in 1997. Critics dismissed it. Audiences called it dumb. Box office disappointment. Every single one of those people missed the point. Starship Troopers is a satire, a complete, deliberate, meticulously constructed satire of fascism, dressed in the uniform of the exact genre it's satirizing. The propaganda sequences are indistinguishable from real propaganda. The militarism is shot to be thrilling. The beautiful, wholesome, diverse cast of young people marching off to war are framed like a recruitment ad. That's the trap. Verhoeven wants you to get swept up in it. He wants you to cheer for the mobile infantry. And then he wants you to notice what you're cheering for. The bug sequences are still extraordinary. $100 million. Practical effects. A director who understood that spectacle is more seductive when you agree with it. This film is more relevant now than it was in 1997. The imagery looks familiar. Watch it as what it actually is. A film asking how easily a society trades freedom for security and calls it patriotism. The answer it gives is not comforting. Number 3, K-PAX. This is one of the most underrated sci-fi films ever. A man named Prot arrives at a psychiatric institution. He says he's from a planet called K-PAX, located 1,000 light-years from Earth. He has arrived via light travel. He is calm, polite, and entirely unbothered by anyone's skepticism. Jeff Bridges plays the psychiatrist assigned to evaluate him. Kevin Spacey plays Prot. And here's the thing that makes K-PAX one of the most quietly disorienting films of the 2000s. It never tells you which one is true. Prot knows things he shouldn't know. Things about astronomy that stump the experts. Things about the psychiatric patients around him that he had no way of learning. But he also arrived without a spaceship, without evidence, without anything except certainty. The film holds both possibilities simultaneously. Is he a visitor from another world, or a deeply traumatized man who built another world inside himself because this one became unbearable, and refuses to resolve them? The ending will stay with you, not because it answers the question, because of what the question reveals about the person asking it. Number 2, Field of Dreams. Okay, I know what you're thinking. 1989, baseball. Kevin Costner standing in a cornfield. This is comfort viewing for people's dads. Stay with me. Ray Kinsella is an Iowa farmer who hears a voice in his cornfield. If you build it, he will come. So he builds a baseball diamond in his cornfield, on farmland he can't afford to lose, to the complete bewilderment of everyone around him, including, reasonably, his bank. And shoeless Joe Jackson walks out of the corn. Field of Dreams is not a baseball film. It is a film about fathers and sons, about the things we never said, the apologies that came too late, the version of the conversation we never got to have, about what it would mean, what it would cost, to get one more afternoon. Phil Alden Robinson wrote and directed it, and understood that the magic only works if the film takes it absolutely seriously. There is no winking, no irony. When Shoeless Joe steps onto that field, the film believes in him completely. And so do you. The final scene, you'll know it even if you haven't seen the film, has made grown men weep in cinemas for 35 years. It earned that. Every frame earned it. One of the finest American films of the 1980s. Watch it with your father if you can. Watch it and think of him if you can't. Number 1, Green Book.
Tell me that don't smell good.
I've never had fried chicken in my life.
You people love the fried chicken.
You have a very narrow assessment of me, Tony.
Yeah, right? I'm good.
Best Picture. Academy Awards 2019. Tony Lip is a bouncer from the Bronx. Big, loud, comfortably bigoted in the way that unreflective men from that world in that era simply were, who takes a job driving a black classical pianist on a concert tour through the Deep South in 1962. The pianist is Dr. Don Shirley. He lives above Carnegie Hall. He speaks 8 languages. He eats with the confidence of someone who has spent a lifetime being the most cultured person in any room he enters. They have almost nothing in common. They have to spend 2 months in a car together. Viggo Mortensen plays Tony. Mahershala Ali plays Don Shirley. And what Ali does in this film, the precise, painful way he plays a man who is too black for the white world, and, as Tony points out with brutal accidental honesty, too far gone from the black world too, is something genuinely extraordinary. Don Shirley is not a symbol. He is not a lesson. He is a man, lonely in a very specific, very particular way, and Ali makes you feel every inch of it. Mortensen gained 35 pounds for the role. He is not coasting. Nobody in this film is coasting. Critics argued about it. The discourse got complicated. Shirley's family had objections about the portrayal, which are worth knowing about and reading about. Art is not a closed conversation, but the film itself, its warmth, its performances, the specific way it holds 2 men becoming something to each other across a divide neither of them chose, is exceptional. It works because it earns its feeling honestly, scene by scene, without shortcuts. That's not always easy. Green Book makes it look like it is. That's why it's number 1. 17 films, all of them on Netflix right now. All of them worth your evening. Start with Host if you want something short and genuinely terrifying. Start with Slow West if you want the most beautiful 84 minutes on this list. Start with Mass when you're ready for something that will ask everything of you emotionally. And watch Green Book when you want to remember why certain films become beloved, and stay that way. Drop a comment with which one you're watching tonight. I read them all. Like the video. Subscribe to Cine Edge. Now go watch something near perfect.